We live in the age of choices, from running shoes to cars, from books to coffee, from online streaming services to office chairs. There are choices all around us. But the question, though, that I'd like us to sit with today is, you think you're choosing, but are you? That was quite the beginning, a mouthful. So let's take a step back and help you relax. I'd like you to close your eyes and imagine this with me. You are sitting on a comfy couch with a warm cup of coffee or tea in your hand. And you, in the calm of the moment, drift your thoughts to your dream vacation. Now, open your eyes. Let's actually plan that vacation. I will give you two choices, and you need to raise your hand on the choice that you're most likely to select. Let's start by booking your flights. You have two options. Option A, a standard low-cost airline, $400 flight. And option B, a $600 flight, which only for today is priced at $400. Which one would you pick? Option A, any takers? Option B, any takers? If you looked around yourself, you saw that most of you picked option B. This is because of an effect called anchoring bias. The $600 in option B acts as a price anchor. The $400, therefore, makes it seem like we are getting a $200 discount, whereas in effect, both the options are the same. So that is anchoring bias. Initial reference point impacts final decision. Well, now that we have booked our flights, the next step is to book your accommodation. You have two choices. Hotel A, where only 3 rooms are left at $100 per night price, and Hotel B, where all rooms are a standard $100 per night. Which one would you pick? Option A. Any takers? Well, if you looked around yourself, seems like I don't even have to look for option B, but option B, any takers? Not that many, huh? If you looked around yourself, you saw that most of you chose option A. This is because of something known as scarcity effect. We tend to value something more when we think that it is in limited supplies. The only 3 rooms makes us feel an urgency to act immediately. That is scarcity effect. Scarcity increases perceived value. And finally, on your vacation, you need to book an adventurous activity. So you narrow it down to 2 surfing companies. Option A, 90% of guests recommend it. And option B, 10% of guests strongly advise against it. Which one would you pick? Option A, any takers? I can say that it's almost unanimous. Most of you chose option A, and this is because of something known as framing effect. The way information is presented to us impacts the final decision. So that is framing effect. So with that, my dear friends, I'd like us to reflect on the question we began with. You think you're choosing, but are you? Jorge Luis, an Argentine writer, once said, "I'm not sure that I exist, actually. I'm all the writers that I have read, all the people that I have met, all the women that I have loved, all the cities I've visited." So poetic, right? Well, it's true even in today's context. Just that, today, we might say that we are the ads we have seen, we are the recommendations we have clicked on, we are the visuals that we have hovered over, or we are the algorithms that have shaped our desires. Quite dramatic, right? But let me ask you, is there ever a time you remember when you bought something and just after a few days you thought to yourself, wait, why did I even buy that? Anyone? I see quite a few nods. In fact, you are not alone. Recent studies show that nearly half, 48% of customers, recently made an online impulse purchase. And that is not coincidence. That is by design. And here's the truth. Up to 95% of product purchase decisions are made subconsciously. And even more surprising, these purchase decisions can take as little as 2.5 seconds. Let that sink in. A mere 2.5 seconds for you to look at an object, analyze the object, and click on Add to Cart. So, in that span of 2.5 seconds, did you really think you bought that because you needed it? No. You bought it because it felt right in that moment. And why did it feel right in that moment? It's because of something known as neuromarketing. It's the fusion of neuroscience and marketing. It brings together these two fields in a manner that impacts customer decisions based on cognitive biases. So it's a field that taps onto our instincts, our emotions, and our cognitive biases to influence customer purchase decisions. Now, the three principles that we saw in the beginning, those are part of neuromarketing. And using those principles, I was fairly accurately able to judge what you were all going to pick, even before you made the choice. Now, imagine that on a scale. Imagine the power of human psychology combined with millions and trillions of choices across channels, across platforms, across devices, across time. That is the power of AI. That looks at what you click, when you're hesitating to click, and when you're most vulnerable to click. Truth be told, for me, it's late night doom scrolling. That's when I'm most vulnerable to click. But it looks at all of this behavioral data, combines it with other factors such as age, location, competitive prices. It also looks at the devices you're on, your searches, and your past purchases. All of this contextual data and demographics. And using this, AI defines what works best on you. That is AI personalization in marketing. And studies show that AI-driven personalization in marketing can boost conversion rates up to 30%. Now, we do need to understand how these are actually implemented. These are implemented using algorithms. Let's try to understand a few. Let's go back to our vacation now. Let's say you have an habit of booking luxurious premium economy flights, direct flights only, and after 10 a.m. Whereas you always tend to look at budget airlines, the cheapest option possible, the best value for your money. That's what your past behavior suggests. So AI looks at both of your past purchases, analyzes what best offer can give your most likelihood to select. So it might show you a $420 flight, a direct flight, whereas it might show you a $400 flight with layovers, but it's the cheapest option. So in both cases, there is equal likelihood of being selected by their respective choice makers. But there is a difference in preference. That falls under the algorithms of machine learning. So it uses past purchase behavior to predict what one might need in the future. Then we have grouping. Let's say a group of customers only tend to book luxurious hotels. There is another group of customers which only tend to book hotels based on location or proximity. Whereas there is a third group of customers which looks at value for money. So they might look at amenities such as, I need a spa, I need gym access, I need free breakfast. That's value for money. So these groups of people are called clusters. When a new customer, you, come into the picture, AI looks at your behavior. It looks at maybe you clicked on something that is related to value customers. Maybe you clicked or you filtered for free breakfast-only hotels. That way, it groups you into the cluster which has similar behaviors such as yourself. And using that, it creates clusters, or it gives you recommendations based on other members of the clusters, and vice versa. This is called clustering, grouping by similarity. And finally, there is personalization. There is ads which seem like they speak your language. There is visuals that seem to touch your heart because they match your vibe. And there is chatbots that sound just human-like. All of this falls under generative AI. So generative AI has one motive: to send across the same core message to different varieties of audiences in a manner that they are most likely to select a response. That is generative AI. So after this theory lesson, let me bring you back to the question we began with. You think you're choosing, but are you? So you may ask me, if, Anusha, AI seems to know us better than ourselves, is there even scope for us to better ourselves or to be who we are? Well, the answer is yes. Personal reinvention, even in the age of AI, is possible. It's possible because AI is just like a mirror. It reflects your inputs, your thoughts, and your behaviors. So there is a lot of scope for personal invention. So what can be done? One, you can start by defining your preferences. You can start by defining what's important to you. So in case you're booking a flight the next time, you can define time. So direct flights is important to me, or luxury, maybe premium economy or business class is important to me. By defining these preferences, you make the ML or the machine learning algorithms to learn and relearn based on your most recent purchase patterns and not just give you recommendations on a past self of yours. Secondly, you can set constraints. What does that mean? It could simply mean setting filters. So the next time you're booking a hotel, you might want to set constraints on location, vibe, budget. By setting these constraints, you give AI a lot of scope to give you options within those constraints. AI does an incredible job of giving options within constraints. So keep an open mind within those constraints. And when you keep an open mind, you make the best choice that gives you the best value for your choice. And finally, be mindful of emotional triggers. I know it is tempting when you look at that ad which seems like it is personalized just to you. But hey, wait, think, is that the object you actually need? Or is it just the ad which is talking to you? So by creating that awareness in the decision, you actually take control of your story. So, ladies and gentlemen, if there's one takeaway that I want you to take from this talk this evening, is as follows. So the next time you see an ad, or you scroll past a recommendation or suggestion, or you get a personalized push notification that feels like it is just for you, I want you to take a step back. Pause, smile, take a deep breath, ask yourself, you think you're choosing, but are you? Because in that pause, in that single moment of awareness, you reclaim your power and you begin to influence the algorithm of influence. Thank you.